All right, let's dive into one of the biggest, most powerful ideas in all of science, Darwin's theory of evolution. This is the story that explains, well, everything about the incredible diversity of life we see, from a tiny little finch all the way up to a towering giraffe. I mean, think about it. For literally centuries, this was the ultimate puzzle. How do you even begin to explain the breathtaking variety of life on our planet? You've got everything from the smallest microbe to the gigantic blue whale. Where did it all come from? And maybe more importantly, how is it all connected? Okay, so to really get just how revolutionary Darwin's idea was, we have to kind of step back in time. We need to understand the world he was born into and the ideas that everyone just accepted as fact. So the old story, the one that was dominant for a long, long time, was called special creation. It basically said the world is static, species were created just as they are now, perfect and unchanging. And the Earth? Oh, it was only a few thousand years old. But there was this radical new idea starting to bubble up, a what-if question. What if species actually change? What if life isn't static at all, but totally dynamic? And what if the Earth is actually way, way older, giving all that change plenty of time to happen? This new idea was amazing, but it was just an idea. It needed a champion, someone to really flush it out. And it needed a how, a mechanism. Well, both of those things would come from one person, whose ideas were shaped by an incredible, epic journey around the world. And that man, of course, was a young naturalist named Charles Darwin. He set sail on the HMS Beagle for what was supposed to be a 5-year mapping expedition, but it turned into something so much more. It became a journey that would literally remap our entire understanding of life itself. You see, Darwin was an absolutely brilliant synthesizer. He wasn't just coming up with this stuff out of thin air. He was connecting the dots. He read Charles Lyell's work on geology, which showed him that the Earth was incredibly ancient, shaped by slow, steady forces. And that gave him the key ingredient he needed, deep time. Then he read the economist Thomas Malthus, who wrote about how populations grow way faster than their resources, leading to this constant struggle for existence. So you take those two big ideas, you combine them with his own mind-blowing observations of fossils and weird, wonderful creatures like the finches on the Galapagos, and suddenly all the pieces of the puzzle started to click into place. So yeah, all the puzzle pieces were right there on the table. Darwin's true genius was seeing how they all fit together. And when he did, he revealed the engine that drives evolution, natural selection. And the logic behind it is it's brilliantly simple. Let's walk through it. Step 1. Overproduction, right? Organisms make way more babies than can possibly survive. Step 2, variation. Look around. Within any group, no two individuals are exactly the same. There are always natural differences. Step 3, competition. Because there are too many offspring and not enough resources, you get a constant struggle for existence. And then, here's the kicker, Step 4, the best adapted survive and reproduce. Those individuals who have traits that give them even a tiny edge are more likely to make it, have their own offspring, and pass those winning traits along. Now, we have to be super clear about what fitness means here. This is a big one. It's not about being the strongest, or the fastest, or the smartest. Nope. Darwinian fitness is all about one thing, reproductive success. That's it. The fittest organism is simply the one that manages to leave the most viable offspring, pushing its genes into the next generation. This quote just nails it. It really gets to the heart of the matter. It's not the strongest that survives, but the one most adaptable to change. It's all about how well you fit into your specific environment. That's what nature selects for. And here's a crazy fun fact. Darwin wasn't actually alone in this. It's amazing. While he was meticulously, carefully building his case for years, another naturalist, a guy named Alfred Russel Wallace, had the exact same eureka moment all the way on the other side of the world in the Malay Archipelago. It was this incredible coincidence, this independent discovery, that finally gave Darwin the push he needed to publish his world-changing book. Okay, so if natural selection is the engine, what's the result? What does it produce? Well, Darwin's vision wasn't some kind of ladder with simple things at the bottom and humans at the top. No, his vision was so much more beautiful. It was a vast, sprawling, branching tree. He called this idea branching descent, and it is just profound. Think about what it means. All life on Earth is related. We all share common ancestors. That mind-boggling diversity we see around us, It's just the result of different populations branching off, like twigs on a tree, and adapting to new environments over millions and millions of years. And the cool thing is, the evidence for this is literally written into our own bodies. Just look at what we call homologous organs. Think about the arm of a human, the wing of a bat, the flipper of a whale, and the leg of a cheetah. They look different, right? They do totally different jobs. But if you look at the bones inside, they have the exact same basic structure. Why? Because we all inherited that blueprint from a common ancestor. Over time, natural selection just modified that same basic structure for different purposes: grasping, flying, swimming, running. That's a perfect example of divergent evolution. Now, the flip side of that coin is something called convergent evolution, and this gives us analogous organs. So think about the wing of a butterfly and the wing of a bird. They both do the same thing, right? They're for flying. But they have totally different structures and evolved from completely separate origins. It's a beautiful example of how similar problems, in this case the problem of how to fly, can lead to similar solutions in totally unrelated species. And this is one of my absolute favorite examples of convergent evolution. It's just stunning. You have placental mammals like us and marsupials in Australia. They evolved on separate continents, totally isolated from each other. But because they were filling similar ecological roles, they ended up evolving to look almost identical. I mean, look at a placental wolf and a marsupial Tasmanian wolf. They both evolved to be these apex predators with incredibly similar body shapes, even though they are super distantly related. It's nature solving the same problem twice. Okay, so this is all really cool, but you might be thinking, this is all ancient history, right? Well, no. That's the most powerful thing about Darwin's theory. It's not just something that happened in the past. We can see it happening right now, all around us, in real time. The classic textbook example is the story of the peppered moth in England. Before the Industrial Revolution, the trees were covered in light-colored lichen, so the light-colored moths were perfectly camouflaged from birds. The dark ones? They stuck out like a sore thumb and got eaten. But then, the factories started pumping out soot, which covered the trees and made them dark. And suddenly, the tables turned completely. Now the dark moths were camouflaged, and the light ones were easy prey. The entire population's color shifted in just a few generations. It's a perfect, visible demonstration of natural selection at work. So why does any of this matter to you and me today? Well, because this exact same process is creating some of our most urgent global challenges. Think about antibiotic-resistant superbugs. How do they happen? We use antibiotics, which kill off all the susceptible bacteria, but they leave behind any that happen to have a random mutation for resistance. Those survivors then multiply, and pretty soon, you have a whole population of resistant bacteria. The same thing is happening with pesticide-resistant insects in our fields and herbicide-resistant weeds. This is evolution in overdrive, and it's being driven by us. And all of this leads us to a really fascinating and maybe a little unsettling final question. If the environment is what does the selecting, what happens when we fundamentally change the environment of the entire planet? What traits is our modern human-shaped world selecting for right now? The story of evolution is not over, not by a long shot. In fact, it might be happening faster than ever before. And we are now the main characters, the primary force shaping where that story goes next.